So at the start, it was that. Then now whenever we are communicating, we change it to Mr. Chan and Mrs. Chan. So that's how I address my parents during work.
Wow.
And then, so that itself was a mindset shift. Welcome to this episode of Clean Your Toilet podcast. Hi, I'm Weitian. I used to be a software engineer, and now I'm the second generation owner of Presto Dry Cleaners. I have here in the studio with me, Barbara. Over to you.
Hi, Weitian. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Barbara Latimer. I am an MC, TV presenter. I've done radio, a bit of an all-round everything. I was a boxing coach as well for quite a while. Born in the UK, raised in Singapore from when I was about 8 years old. Family migrated here because the tropics are way better than cold and dreary England. And now I live in Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
My sister lives in Melbourne.
Oh, does she?
Yes.
I love that. Which part?
I have no. I think.
See, that's a real test of family.
No.
Do you know where she lives?
No, I don't.
Shame on you. I'm kidding.
But we just came back from a holiday in Perth for 9 days.
Ah, what did you do?
It was wonderful. We went down to Margaret River. Yeah, it was really, really nice. I think it's the best holiday we had.
That's good. Was it just you and your partner?
No,
or?
so it was me, my partner with 2 kids, my parents, and my sister.
Wow, okay.
So it was a big group.
Big family trip. I think my family and I went to Perth for Christmas, maybe in 2016, because there's not much to do there, right?
I like it that there's not much to do. I like the slower pace of life because the previous holiday we had was in Tokyo.
Hectic.
And that was hectic with the kids.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend.
No.
I wouldn't recommend. I would totally recommend like going to some place that's more chill, slower pace, and especially with young kids. So I have 2 kids, 4 and 2.
2 and 4, so cute.
Yeah.
Boys, girls?
Girls.
Not that I'm biased. I only have one sister.
Okay.
And I would say girls are definitely up there.
Yeah.
They will take care of. Not that boys are bad. Not that I'm saying that at all. But when my sister had her son, none of us have had boys in the family before. And I think it just took us all by surprise. Like how, I guess, boisterous boys are. It's like all over the place. We called him Hurricane Luca because he literally powered through everything like a hurricane. But yes, I completely agree when it comes to family holidays, somewhere nice and chill. And I guess it's a good difference from the kind of life that we lead here in Singapore.
Yes, very
where
much
it's a bit more hectic.
Very, very much so.
So you and your wife have a laundry and dry cleaning business.
Yes.
Is this something that you guys started together or?
So it's a family business. So Presto Dry Cleaners has been around since 1992. So it was started by my parents.
Wow.
Yeah, so my parents started it in 1992 and they slowly built the business from a shop house going all the way to having it in shopping malls and stuff.
It was like the OG kind of entrepreneurship business. I love that.
I think when they started at that time, it was more from a point of need, survival, versus entrepreneurship. Now you're just trying to like, okay, you know what's the next big trend and stuff. They were just trying, it's survival. That's why they started the business.
And I guess it's almost good, right? Because back in the day, you could start any business in the 90s and it would become a need because, you know, Singapore didn't have a lot.
Yes.
You know, we've gone from being a little kampong country to an extremely advanced country with economics and just the way it works, tourism in 60 years. Do you feel like Singaporeans have caught up to at the speed of which the country has caught up?
Wow, what a question. Do I feel Singaporeans has caught up? I would think yes. I would say yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
You think we are our generation or our parents' generation that we're like...
I think our generation, our parents' generation definitely benefited a lot more. Yeah, they definitely see the type of life they were having improve drastically. And I think it's about managing expectations. Like if you look at it as from a point of, let's say, 0 to 100, they started when they were probably, let's say, 50, and then they improved to 80. And then we are starting from 80, trying to get 80, just go up to 90. That 10 points different versus the 30 points difference. You definitely see a lot more change in the 30 points difference and then a 10 point difference. Then going from 90 up another 5 points, the amount of effort to go push up. It's like when you're studying, right? Trying to score that, going from A2 to A1. Just trying to push it up there. Like
it's hard.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's so hard.
And it's the same for businesses as well.
And in terms of your business, so you mentioned that you were a software engineer. Is that what you studied in school? Was this something that was pushed by your parents? Was it your interest?
I love software engineering. I used to be the geeky one who is just stay back in school and then do coding and stuff like that. I loved anything that's technology since young. So I studied IS, Information System in SMU. I graduated in 2015. And throughout my years as a software engineer, I think the time I had in SMU defined me as a person. So I learned so much about coding. I learned so much about the different languages. I learned so much about myself. And then after that, after graduation, then I did a startup called 1314. So with my friends. So it was a wedding photography platform. The whole thing, the idea behind it was we are Airbnb for overseas wedding photographers. So if you wanted to go to Bali to take a wedding photo shoot, instead of sourcing for yourself a wedding photographer there or things like that, you go to the platform. We'll be able to match you with a Bali wedding photographer, even though you're in Singapore.
Right. So Tinder for wedding photographers and clients.
Yeah, you can put it that way.
Okay, is that platform still live?
Yes, that is still live.
I'm getting married next year, so
congratulations.
Might need to have a chat with you about that. Okay, cool. So are you still involved with that business?
No.
Okay, so you've sold off your...
So I exited that, yes.
And then at what point, was it right after that you... At what point, what was the turning point when it came to saying hey, you know what, I want to work in my parents' family business?
So in most family business, we don't have a succession plan.
Yeah.
It was more out of need that suddenly there was a hole that needs to be plugged and then you get called back. And then you're like, okay, I need your help to do this. And then for my case, I think it was some operations issues and then they needed help with that. And then I came back to help. Same thing with my wife, Sherry. So Sherry also came back because our accounts, we needed some help in the accounting department. She's accounting trained, so she came back.
So both of you were just yeah, let's do it. There was no reservations. Were there any hesitations? We can be honest because family businesses are hard.
It is.
Right? A lot of the time, especially in, I would say, TV dramas and stuff, people they don't want anything to do with family businesses. They're like, you've done your thing, let me do mine. Right.
So this is just coming from me. So for my case, it's... I grew up with the family business. So when there's any kind of laundries and then dry cleaning when we were kids, we will help with the sorting of clothes and things like that. We will involve child labor.
If your own kids, it's not child labor. Trust me, I used to do my parents' receipts.
Yeah, so same thing. And then as you see how the business grow. You see how the business grow. We started from a small shop and then we branched to 10 outlets. And you kind of, for my case, I felt it was kind of a duty to kind of give back to the company. And it was the company that actually, brought us, food on the table and stuff like that. So it was, when I joined it was more of a sense of duty. Yeah. So for my wife's case, we had experience working together because, or working on school projects. We were JC mates.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so
you're one of those high school loves that made it.
Yeah, one of the few. Yes.
One of the few, that's for sure.
One of the few. Yeah, so we went through our many years of ups and downs.
For sure.
And that itself provide a strong enough foundation for us to work on to rely on when we work together in the business.
Mm-hmm. So would you say it was perhaps a combination of filial duty, that sense of obligation, but also knowing that practically it makes sense and financially it also makes sense? Did you guys have kids at the time when you made the decision? Not yet.
Not yet. So when we joined the business, it was in 2017. So I was 27 years old, 27 years old. And we didn't have kids, and work became, at one point in time, work became our identity. Yeah, because like at 27, you just freshed out or you just left your startup, and then it's like, that's you don't have any other commitments. You don't have any other commitments. And time at that point in time always stays still, like you're 21 or you're 18. You know, it always stays at that stage. Time only started to pass really fast after we had our first kid.
When did you guys have your first kid?
We had our first kid in 2021. So COVID baby.
COVID baby. I know what y'all were doing while everyone was working from home.
But we wanted a kid for very long. And we realized that it's not a case where you want to have kids and then you can get kids. It doesn't work that way. Like we tried for 2 years before we had our first kid.
Aww.
Yeah, so it wasn't such a easy journey. Yeah, it wasn't such an easy journey.
For sure.
Yeah.
And when it comes to working in the business together, especially, I'm guessing your parents are still involved?
So 80%, they are about 20% involved, I would say.
Okay, that's 20%. Not too bad.
So any of the major decisions, we still run through them, like opening a new outlet, changing suppliers, or having new detergent or changing our processes or things like that. We'll run it through them. But our day-to-day, most of it is us.
It's mostly on you two. And so it's 80-20 now, right? And it's been, 8 years since you guys joined the business?
So it only became 80-20 like maybe 2 years ago. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty recent.
So there would have been a good 5 years of building that trust with your parents where you're like, we are comfortable with you guys
running the business,
taking over the reins. What were the challenges with going in? Because in an OG business like this, they've been running it for so long. They have their ways. And obviously, being part of the new generation, you guys also want to do things differently.
Yes.
Right? In ways that you've learned from education, you've learned from working in the workforce, and also running your own startup.
Yeah. So I think the greatest challenge is the difference in values. So they were a product of their time. So one of the and I'm a product of my time. And we grew up in different environment, different situation. And because of that, the values that shape me and the values that shape my parents are quite different, especially considering like what we said earlier about how Singapore has progressed. So the times when they grew up in 1960s, and now when I grew up in 1990s, that 40 years, Singapore has grown tremendously.
It's so different.
It's so different. So the values that we grow up in, the hardships that we go through is very, very different from our parents. So one of the greatest difference in values is actually they are very prudent or frugal with cash. And for me, it's more of like wanting to know when you experiment, there's bound to be some failures, and then you want to try stuff. So that we had a lot of conflict over.
How do you navigate conflict, right? We all know that conflict happens. It's part and parcel of life. There's no highs without the lows. But how do you... It's one thing to navigate conflict when you're in the workplace and you have a HR department and different tiers of bosses and levels of leadership and people that you can go to. I feel like when it comes to navigating that with not just family, but people that you've grown up with, that you have an extremely personal relationship with, they know you so well, you know them so well.
Yep.
How do you navigate that conflict?
So at the start, we were going into this blind. Yeah, we were going to be blind because nothing prepares you for it. So, for example, in a corporate setting, everyone's very professional, right? So the hardest part is imagine your dad or mom as your boss. Oh, yeah. So that's really tough. And then there's no, especially in a family business, if you're talking about the smaller family business, there's no structure around it. There's no structure, there's no professionalism that has been built in yet, especially handing in from first gen to second gen. And because of that, it becomes very iffy. Like, how do you actually talk to, like, you have something to present to your dad? Are you going to say like, hey dad, this, or what are you going to say? So at the start it was that. Then now whenever we are communicating, we change it to Mr. Chan and Mrs. Chan. So that's how I address my parents during work.
Wow.
And then, so that itself was a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with my wife, Sherry, I don't call her a dear. You know, we don't say that in office in front of our employees or in front of our colleagues. We don't
How
do
many
that.
employees do you guys have at the moment?
So we have 50.
Okay, so we've expanded and we've got quite a lot of people around that are seeing a family dynamic. Okay, cool.
Yes. So so even with my wife, I'll just call her Sherry, just by her name.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you know that you're in work mode. It kind of switches. There's that switch there that okay, everything is work. So but then there are times when things gets really ugly. Yeah. There are times when you're like, oh boy, like this, like just my mom will say that she raised her voice. I'll say that she's shouting. Right? And that doesn't happen in a corporate workplace.
Yes.
Yes. So things like this happen, and then it's like you kind of have to say that, okay, you know what, to set the boundaries, to set the expectations. And you can't fault the previous generation because they never, when they started the business, they have never went through a corporate workplace. What is it like?
Yeah.
They have never gone through that. So if they have never gone through that, then how can you? And they have been doing it for 30 years.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. And for 30 years, they didn't have any bosses to report to. They didn't have anyone else to have a discussion with. You're like their first, or I see myself, I hope that they see me in the same way. I see myself as like, you know, on equal level, like when we join, like I bring equal things to the table. And we are here for a discussion. Like, I think that power dynamics. Yeah, there was that shift in the power dynamics where your son or your daughter-in-law suddenly is on the same level as you, and then say like, actually whatever you have or what you did before is maybe we could have done it in our way. And how do you then communicate that? If you communicate that
respectfully,
you have to communicate it respectfully. Like, is that going to be like family? Is that in a business setting? And like, yeah.
And also, especially with Chinese culture and the level of respect that we have for our elders, that it's ingrained in us to show that respect. You, even if you don't like the person, you still have to call them auntie and uncle, this kind of thing. Yeah.
So what about you working with your partner?
So my fiance and I, we've known each other for a really long time. We dated in university when I was there in Melbourne. I moved back to Singapore because I was PR at the time. I wasn't a citizen yet. So my polytechnic fees were not 6K, they were 60K.
Wow.
So I had to sign off on a tuition grant. And obviously I didn't have like $60,000 lying around to continue living in Australia. So I came back, and the good thing about tuition grants in Singapore and the way they get people to come back and work here is I don't have to pay anything off. I just need to contribute to the economy for 3 years in a full-time job.
I did not know that.
So the difference between us and other countries is that we're not getting students who have finished school and end up in student debt that they're now paying off for the next 10, 15 years, right? So I came back and I was very blessed that I was able to work full-time with my parents. So they have their own company. So from young, like when we lived in the UK, my mum set up her own restaurant and my dad supported her in that. And we used to wear like the Singapore Airlines kabaya. I was like 6 years old and serving people baskets of prawn crackers. You know, that was my little hospo experience when I was 6. And then obviously I'd seen them build up my dad's executive coaching business from scratch. And he's very much a pioneer in this line of work. So I've always had tremendous respect. And I jumped on as their project coordinator. So I was like a glorified PA, managing dad's schedule, all the operations side of the business. When we had workshops, I was handling all the clients, just not the sales aspect. And I related back to what you said. It was like, do I say mom and dad?
Yeah.
I was fresh out of uni at this point, right? It was my first official corporate job, and we'd go to these workshops, and it was interesting because the entire line was very front facing. So we'd be setting up for the workshops, and I would obviously sign off my emails as Barbara Latimer. My mum would sign off her emails as her maiden name, and my dad would use Tony Latimer. And they would kind of just look at the three of us and put 2 and 2 together. They're like, wait, so she's clearly related to you, but then I'm just looking at her face. Is she your byproduct? Is she your child? And they're like, yes, it is. We just don't, like, we're not that open about it. But it did take me a while to get over that uncomfortability of, especially in front of clients, saying, hi, Tony. Hi, Jun. I'm like, it's so weird. So fast forward, my partner and I, we broke up for 6 years. We reconnected in 2019. Then COVID hit. So we ended up doing 2 years of long distance before I was able to move to Melbourne. So I was like, yay, gonna be with the love of my life. And I've been there for nearly 4 years. I'm still figuring out the media aspect of my career over there. Is it something I still want to do? Should I be pursuing? Should I bother? I've had the advantage of being able to be introduced into the hospitality industry over the last few years, which has been super beneficial for me. But we also have our own company. So we sell bottled cocktails.
Oh, wow.
I know. Hospitality through and through. If he knows anything, it's alcohol.
Okay.
So we sell small bottles and big bottles. And obviously we have our B2C aspect where we do e-commerce, and then we have our wholesale aspect. And all of this started out in our garage.
Oh, very interesting. I actually wanted to find out more about what's your working relationship with your dad when you guys were working together.
Weird, man. I mean, they made it easy.
Okay.
My parents, given my dad's coaching background from young, he's, they're not like, you must do this and you must do that. It's, okay, what do you want to do? And more often than not, we'd have coaching sessions with our parents. They're like, okay, so, and we didn't even realize we were being coached.
How does that work? Share more.
So the overarching definition of coaching is when you sit down and you say, okay, let's see where you are now and where do you want to be and what do you need to do in order to get there. So in a coaching session, the coach will never tell you what to do. That's the big misconception. All they are doing is asking the right questions to trigger a certain level of thinking because you know all the answers. You already know what you need to do.
Okay.
Sometimes you just need someone to trigger that thinking, point you in the right direction. So the great thing about it now that I look back is, yes, I do need a lot of help. We all do in terms of growth. But when I realize that I have a problem, I tend to always try and solve these by myself because I just sit back and think, okay, so where am I at now? What's the problem? Where do I want to be? And what do I need to do to get there?
Wow.
I'm like, okay, well, practically speaking, I need to do this. Okay lah, do lah.
Wow. That sounds, wow. I think your parents did a great job parenting.
Thank you.
That's something I'm trying to learn.
Shout out to mom and dad. Y'all great.
Yeah, that's something I'm trying really hard to do. I'm trying to learn now that I'm a parent. Yeah.
Yes.
It's parenting. I think it's one of the hardest job in the world. Yeah, and nothing can prepare you for it. Yeah, and you have, like, many times you only have one model to look at, which is your own parents, but you don't know what other models out there. So I'm always very curious about, like, tell me more about your parenting, like, how did your dad parent you?
Well, okay, when we came to, I have beautiful memories of my childhood in the UK, right? Even though I left when I was 8, I remember so much. I wanted to be a teacher because I loved my teachers in school. I thought, wow, this is amazing. You know, we get to encourage and educate young minds. Wow, it's coming from an 8-year-old. And then I moved to Singapore. I was like, I don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Because you look at the teachers here and they are so stressed.
Yes.
They're overworked. There's so much pressure. It's 40 kids to one teacher.
And what's the ratio like in UK?
In the UK, so we lived in a very, very small town that no one's ever heard of.
Okay.
They called it Treacle Town. Treacle is like maple syrup.
Okay.
Right? So they nicknamed it Treacle Town because it was like, yeah, everyone's a bit thick, which is like everyone's a bit dumb, essentially. Because when you say someone's thick, you're calling them like dense, stupid. So that was the running joke of our town. But in school, there were 2 classes per level.
Okay.
So each year only had 2 classes and each class only had 20 students.
Oh, wow.
It was very, very small. So the amount of attention that you got from the teacher, and then you would have like a teaching assistant come in as well. So you're like,
wow. So the students, teacher to student ratio is really low?
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's really
right?
good. And
learning didn't feel like learning. Exams didn't feel like exams. We were in year 3, which was the equivalent of primary 2. And they were like, yeah, you know, the year 6 students, they've got to take an exam. So you know what? So that they don't feel too stressed out and alone, we'll all take an exam. We'll all do a test at the end of the year, and then we can just see where everyone's at and what you might need extra help on.
Okay.
So we had an exam and no one felt stressed. No one felt pressured about the results. And then we jump into the Singapore school system because mum and dad didn't believe that we should be going into the international schools, right? Mum is local. Our family here is local. If we're going to grow up here, we are going to be local. And you know that there is a significant divide between the international schools and the local schools.
Yes.
So we did 4 months of intensive Chinese tuition,
Right.
which was not fun.
Yes.
It was great on hindsight. I love that I'm able to speak Mandarin, but it was traumatizing.
Yes, it's a very tough language to learn.
Yeah, and even for my mum as well, because when she was in school, it was Fanti.
Oh.
So she was having to relearn Jianti all over again, and then figuring out...
In order to help you...
figure out like how do you teach an 8-year-old a brand new language from scratch? And mum was honestly a complete lifesaver. Like we had tuition every day, but she would sit down with us and draw pictures and come up with songs to at least try and make it a little bit less overwhelming for us, because then we had like the mathematics syllabus where Singapore's system was 2 years ahead of what we were learning in the UK.
Wow, that's a long time to try to catch up. Lots of catching up to do.
And you think that it was bad for me at 8-9 years old. My sister was 4 years older than me, so she was going straight into the secondary school system.
Oh, wow.
And there were no... by the time we'd finished all our intensive like catch-up tuitions, it was like February, March in the school year. No school wants to take us. I won't name the school, but a very prestigious school that we'd applied for and sat for the entry exams for were like, nope, they're not scoring well. We don't want to take them. So me and my sister were crying because we're like, why doesn't this school want us? And we felt a bit rejected.
Yeah, I'm
we
sure.
didn't quite understand the extent of the tiered systems in the local school systems at that point. And So my sister got into Bedok South,
Okay.
and I got into Fengshan Primary,
Okay.
which was a very Chinese, old school school. So like we'd be walking down the hallway with my dad and kids would still bow to him. It was that kind of like old school Chinese. I was the only mixed kid in the school. Like after the entry exam, I was crying, because I did half of the Chinese entry exam, but I'd only learned until 2A. I hadn't learned 2B yet.
Oh no.
So I didn't understand half of the words and I just sat there crying, and then I went into the reception and they're like, oh my God, it's okay. And she's like, let me bring you around the school. And she'd bring me around the school. She's like, this one from England. This one, Ang Mo one. So I didn't have any friends because I still had a very thick Midlands English accent. It wasn't like posh English accent. It was Midlands accent.
And how does that sound like?
Like we didn't pronounce like, have some water.
Oh,
we don't pronounce our T's.
Okay.
And everyone thinks, oh, if you're from the UK, your English must be fantastic.
Right.
No. Right. Unless you're from the posh side, there's extremely different accents on how people are, just like how Singlish is. It's just how you grow up. So there was one day when my dad came to pick me up from school and this mum came up to me. She's like, oh, you must be Barbara's daddy. He was a bit like, yeah, who are you? She was like, oh, no. My son, he came back from school and he said, Mummy, there's this girl and her English is so good. And the mum was like, how do you know her English is good? Like a bit dubious of her son. It's like, because I don't understand what she's saying. So then she saw the white guy waiting for at the school gates. She's like, that must be her dad. So the school then actually decided to send me to St. Anthony's Conversion Convent Girls' School because there were a lot more, halfies became a little bit more common after that. There were more halfies in the girls' schools than there were in the co-ed schools. And mum and dad never put any pressure on us.
Right.
So the whole like tiger mum stereotype and putting pressure to do well was not something my parents ever engaged in.
Right.
Just because there will be no ramifications now, I can fully admit that I would come home from school crying because I've got all this homework and tests to study for. And this is maybe primary 3, primary 4. And I still had an entire art piece to paint out. And I'm like, I don't have time.
Yeah.
And I was bawling my eyes out. Mom and dad were like, don't worry, we got you. They fully did my art homework for me. Because I'm like, I'm not that good at art. This is not a career I'm going to pursue. I know that this other stuff is more important, like my other homework. So it's okay, let's take that load off you. Because they understood how much pressure there was. If I wasn't scoring well in my things, it's not like, why do you only get 7 out of 10? It's like, okay, so how come you couldn't remember the other 3? What do we need to do to get you up to where you want to be?
Wow. So that's what it's like to have a coach as a parent.
Yeah, we were having all these subtle conversations that I just had no idea were coaching conversations, but were so pivotal in how they parented us and how they prepared us. And that's not to say there wasn't pressure, but I do admit that a lot of the pressure that I felt came from myself because I'm like, I have to do them proud. They've moved country for us to give us better prospects in life. They moved us out of a small town to a country where there are a lot of opportunities. I can't not do well. I can't disappoint them.
So were they the one who told you that, or like
No, this was like an internal thing.
But how do they instill that in you?
They didn't. Right? Till this day, I can't even tell you where it came from. Maybe it was just from the environment that we were in. I mean, you look at the time it was Kids Central, right?
Oh, yeah.
All these environmental factors that we are exposed to, school, TV, we didn't have social media back then. It contributes to the mindset that we are going to be raised with. So even if it didn't come from my parents, it came from the environment that we were in.
Right.
And in saying that, you mentioned about parenting and wanting to know more about parenting, right? I'm very curious on your thoughts on what is it like? What was your experience in school? And what are you anticipating as your kids go into school? Because the primary school system, I'm looking at my niece's homework now.
Yes.
And I'm like, huh?
Yeah. So that's so my experience in school. I was schooled in Patron Public School in Toa Payoh. So same thing, Chinese oriented, very discipline focused, very traditional Chinese values. Till date, I still can remember the values that the school have. 礼义廉耻. Yeah, till date, I can still remember it. Wow. Okay.
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD. So I can remember like the school principal asking us to stand all in a straight line, and then he will take a pen and just making sure everyone stands in a really straight line during assembly.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
So it's really, really strict.
Did they have the whole like girls couldn't have long hair, or was it
I can't remember
like
that
if
because
you
I
had
was a boy.
short hair,
Yeah, I can't remember.
it couldn't touch the collar?
Oh yes, it couldn't touch the collar. Yes.
Okay.
That part, yes. And I had tuition my whole life. Yeah, I had lots of tuition, and I didn't like it.
But we needed it, right?
That's the thing I'm questioning.
Did you need it?
I needed it. I definitely needed it. But I don't know whether tuition is it's a good thing. I'm still on the fence on this one. Because, so my wife grew up in an environment where she didn't have tuition.
Okay.
Yeah, so she had zero tuition throughout her whole life, all the way to university. She never once had tuition.
Did she struggle with any of her subjects?
No.
So she was a smarty pants.
Yes.
She was blessed.
Yes.
She didn't need tuition. That's why.
Yeah, she didn't need it. And that's something now that we have two kids, we struggle on this topic of tuition a lot. I see the benefits of not having tuition, but then the thing is, the key question comes is, are you willing to let your child fail? Yeah, if they are not doing well, then would it be like bad if you just let them continue? Like,
would it be detrimental to their future?
Yeah.
Is Singapore a society where we can afford to let them fail?
So if you are not going into, if you're going into corporate, I would think that yes, at some point in time, the paper qualification gets you through the door, get you one fit in, gets you the interview, but in the end, you still need to be able to do the work. I think that's the key thing. Whether you can do the work or not, the paper qualifications only gives you a certain insight. Maybe it shows that you have discipline, but that's only one part of doing the work well. But if you're going to do a business, no, it doesn't matter, because there's so many other skills out there that are important. And that itself, I think it's very, very important. It's something that the education system only focus on a very, very small aspect, like just math, science, English, Chinese. Yeah, education doesn't prepare you for business, because in business, you don't have to be... The skill set that requires, or the skill set that requires you to be good in business are not being taught in school. Like, for example, sales, negotiations, communication skills, how to manage people.
Yeah.
And none of this is being taught or being graded in school, but these are such important life skills to have. How to manage finances, how to manage money, how to manage cash flow. None of this is being taught. And these are the skills that are very... it really depends on what you want to do. And it doesn't matter. And in business, it doesn't matter that you suck at one of them. If you do badly for one of them, because you can get help. It's perfectly fine copying from others in business. There is nothing wrong, but
that's success, right? Taking something that someone else has done, do it better.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you from copying in business. But when you are studying, you're not supposed to copy from your friends. You're not supposed to So the skill set that you get, or the mindset you get while you're studying in a very confined system, that doesn't really help.
So in terms of you've created this path for yourself, right? You've gone on the journey. You went through the Singapore system with tuition. You took all the right steps. You went to uni. You tried your own startup. You then decided to rejoin the family business, and you've taken it to heights, right? You have essentially trailblazed. You've created your own path for yourself, which I think is amazing. How would you impart that onto your kids? Because you weren't allowed to fail in school, right? Because you had all the tuition. Like, would you have failed if you didn't? Do you think that if you didn't have tuition and your parents allowed you to fail, would you still be where you are now? And I know it's difficult to answer because everything's hypothetical. And we talk about the future and, you know, if you go into the corporate world, yes, you need the paper, but have you learned how to fail?
Yeah.
So, but when you're in primary school and secondary school getting tuition, you don't know what you're going to be doing in the future. So that balance between parenting and allowing them to develop that same sense of worth and blazing their own trail.
So I think, okay, the key part here comes from if they failed, if you allow them to fail, does it affect their self-confidence? And I think there's two different parts to this. So if failing does affect their self-confidence, then I think that maybe I as a parent, I would want to think of how can I better support them when they fail. Yeah, there's something I'm thinking about. To be honest, I don't have the answer to that, how to better support, because that is, to me, is a unknown area. I am still learning on how can I, if my kids do fail in some aspect, I don't want to be coddling them. I don't want to do that. But how do I let them fail, but then get them to pick themselves up and then, you know, go again? Because that's what you need in business. That's what you need. Or, you know, doesn't matter in business or even in the corporate setting. It's about like be willing to try, and it's okay to fail, but then just try again. You know, just try again. And if you shoot your shots enough time, there's bound to be one shot that hits. Yeah.
Can't argue with that. So I guess being parent is tricky, man. I think being a parent in Singapore is even trickier. What is one of the biggest things when it comes to creating your own path and trailblazing that you would like to impart onto your kids? And how would you do that?
To be willing to impart to my kids.
Because they see you as you are now. I mean, I know they're still quite young, right? But they are going to grow up looking at you as a business owner.
Yep.
And mum and dad have gotten there in very different ways, right? One was super book smart, didn't need any tuition.
Yep.
One needed a lot of tuition. But also created your own path with entrepreneurship and business. And like, what's one of the key things that you want to impart on them? Is it like transferable skills? Is it an innovation, entrepreneurship?
I think just be willing to try. Yeah, be willing to try to be willing to try to get things done. Like if you were trying to, okay, let me see how I put this. If you should be able to ask not how can things be done? How can you get things done? Not accept everything around you for the way it is. So you are able to just constantly question things like, okay, if let's say this takes 10 days to come, why? Why must it really take 10 days? Can I do it in 5? Or how can I make it such that it takes 5 days to come? Or what can I do to shorten it? Yeah, so to focus, to do not accept things on the way they are, and then try to think of ways on how you can make things better or how can you improve on things. That's something I would like them to impart to them.
And going forward, given that, I guess pre you joining your family business, Did you ever have any like gut feeling or inclination that you were going to go back to the family business?
Yeah. I always felt that at some time, because my parents are not much younger, they're about 60 plus right now. And it would really be a waste to just say that, you know what, let's just close down the business.
Did you ever feel like there was pressure for you to join the family business? Or was it something that you were just like, yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is my path.
Yes.
Okay. And what about your kids?
That's
I know it's early.
That's a really interesting question. I think, so my wife said never. Yeah, so you never know what's going to happen. And I think for them, I want them to go out and then explore their own skill set, develop their own skill set a bit more if they were going to join the family business. But joining the family business have to come from themselves, nothing to do with me. Yeah.
So no pressure for them?
No pressure for them.
At all?
At all. Zero.
Was there pressure from your parents? I know you said that deep down you kind of always knew that you would head in that direction eventually.
I don't know.
But did they ever be like?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more of like, you know, when you talk about yourself having that mindset, like the pressure comes from yourself. Internal.
Yeah.
Similar.
It was just one of those.
It was similar. Yeah.
Do you ever wonder, how can I impart that into my kids?
I would like to, but I have no idea how.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea how. Like, how do you... That's the thing. Like, you can never... I can't point out exactly why am I this way.
So I have this thing, right, that I have asked myself for years and years, and I still can't answer it. So, not that my parents were strict, but there was always balance. So when I was in poly, I was finally studying something I loved. Secondary school was hard for me, like really hard. I couldn't score well in a lot of my subjects. But then I went on to poly. I was studying comms and media management. And I did so well. I was in the library all the time to study. I was like, I just want to do well. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And obviously, I had a lot of friends who were going out on the weekdays, you know, like Wednesday is ladies' night and this, that, and the other. And my mum would have this thing where she's like, if you go out, let me know where you're going, who you're with. And she would wait for me. She wouldn't sleep until I came home. So even on the weekends, if I was coming home at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning after supper, you know, like after zouk menu, makan, she would still wait up for me. And so honestly, Monday to Thursday, like any day that was a working day, I know mum had work and I would never go out. I would skip all the gatherings. I'm like, no, because her health and well-being is important to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so she's clearly managed to instill a level of empathy in me. Yeah. How do I teach my kids that? How do I make sure that my kids have a good heart?
Yeah, so I think so much of the values you develop is actually from your formative years, like probably 0 to I don't know 10 or something. Then that's when you try to so-called shape. But I think once it's like after a certain age, maybe 15 or something, then when you want to make any changes, then it's already stuck. It's like whatever. So that's why I feel, and I feel very lucky that I'm in a position where, because I'm a business owner, that I get to spend more time with my kids.
Yes.
Yes, I'm flexible with my time.
Yeah.
I'm flexible with my time. So there are times when, okay, you know, you work your Sundays, but at least on Monday I get to go pick up my kids, or I spend the whole day with them for some particular events. But there are also times when it's a family or, you know, family gathering, Chinese New Year, but something happens at work.
You have to do what you have to do.
You have to do. So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
It's a give and take. And that's something that I'm willing to accept. Yeah.
Nice. Now, don't mind me. I just want to go back to the business a bit, because the generational build-up, I mean, personally in my experience, like I've seen my dad build up his business from scratch and get to where he is. And they've never once pressured us to take over the family business. They've seen us go into the media sphere and they're like, yeah, go do you. But I also see my dad working on the business now in such a way that we could take over if we wanted to, but it wouldn't have to be, it would be a business operation, not something where we would have to know what he knows in order to run the business. When it comes to being in the industry that you're in, it's a pretty old school industry, right? Yeah. So how do you take that in the modern world? Like your aspect, your point of view, your ideas. Yep. How have you approached that modernization of a more old school concept?
Right. So I think the short answer is that we copy. Yeah, so we got good at copying. So we look at other industries because there are so many other other industries out there that are doing amazing stuff. So take for example our feedback system. Whenever you drop off your laundry, you collect your laundry, we'll send you a SMS to say your item has been collected. Here's a link. Let us know how we did. You click on the link, 1 to 5 star. That's something we copied from Grab. Yeah, so then you have other systems like, for example, parcels. When invoices, before we want to track with the invoice, the items when it goes from the outlet to the shops and from the shops to the customers, and then we scan. That one we got it from the logistics industry. So it's that's why I say it's very important to be able to look at other ideas in other industry and then just pick and choose what do you think might work.
Is applicable.
And then you just iterate. And of course, the first time when you start off, it might not work. It might not work. We tried multiple ideas. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. Just keep trying.
Do you feel like that brings us back to the point of being allowed to fail? Did you face any resistance from your parents when you were starting to implement these kind of things?
Yeah, so that was one of the early stages where we had conflicts because my parents are quite traditional. I'm nowhere near your parents when they are coaches or knowing how to say where you are, where do you want to go to, and then how to get there. Yeah. And sometimes they are the type that say like, okay, don't climb this, don't climb or don't touch this. You see, I tell you already, why you touch, It's a very old school style of parenting.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we are very lucky to be in this generation where we have so much information that's available to us. We have so many podcasts, we have so many Instagram reels or shorts that can give us tips on how to parent, or then you can pick and choose.
You feel like it's oversaturated though?
Yeah, definitely. Because everyone will try to tell you everything.
Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah, everyone has an opinion, but I think it's up to you to be a curator and for you to choose what do you want to believe in or what do you want to follow, and then just continue that path. Because you can't be doing everything. There's limited resources.
Do you think we have time to go through everything though? With so much stuff out there, right? It's yes, we want to be able to follow what we feel is true. But in this day and age, we got time.
Yeah. So I'm actually very curious, how would you parent your kid?
Dude, that is a whole can of worms that we have yet to open. I mean, look, we've both lived, right? My partner's been in the hospital industry. He's always had a very entrepreneurial mind. And this company is our nest egg, essentially. And he comes from Kenya. So very strong traditional family values, very grounded. He's extremely hardworking. Everything he does for our future. And I could not be more grateful to have him in my life. He went to an international boarding school in Kenya. He first started boarding school, I think it was the age of 8 or 10, and it was quite militant, that first school. And then for his high school, it was, they had like pancakes and Milo in the morning, and so it was nice, but 14, 15, they were learning a level of independence that Singaporean kids, we don't even dream about, doing your own laundry, cooking your own meals, manning the tuck shop. trying all sorts. Every semester was a different sport that they played professionally. And he'd first brought up to me boarding school, and I was like, are you insane? Like, leaving my babies? Like, I birthed them. And now you want me to leave them for 3 months of the year and only get to see them like once every 3 months? Are you ridiculous right now? And then he actually said something to me when we were doing long distance that completely changed my mindset on having children, which was, when we have kids, they are not our children. They are the children of the universe. And we are just showing them how to be a part of that and guiding them in the best way possible to be able to survive on their own.
So you feel that the job of a parent is?
Guide them into life by themselves. I can't control where you want to take your life. But based on my knowledge and my experiences combined with my partners, we can do what we feel is best to help make sure that you are the most well-equipped human being to survive in the world that we are in at this point in time. The world is a crazy place.
It is.
Right? No matter which country you're in, where you go, it's going to be wild. I mean, we've seen some of our close friends who are homeschooling their children, and it was a beautiful thing to see. You know, we went over for a morning coffee. It was about 10 a.m. Their 12-year-old daughter had already baked a fresh batch of cookies for us. They went off to make like beautiful Kenyan coffee for us. His 8-year-old son, came out and pitched his homemade jam business. Right there on the lawn. And then we were seeing a different music teacher come in to teach each of them different instruments based on their interests. So one was learning the electric guitar, one was learning the cello, and then one was learning something else. I can't remember, right? But then that tailored learning, and they could tell us Roman numerals of up to 1,000. And these kids are 8, 10, and 12.
Right.
It's insane how we don't realize what is out there and what is possible for the kids.
Right.
Because we're only exposed to what we know.
Yes.
And despite the rate of globalization, we still want to stay in our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how we're going to parent the kids. We've talked extensively about it. Let's get the kids first. Let's make that happen first. But you know what? Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute joy being able to chat with you and get, I think, a bit of insight into what it's like to trailblaze within a family business, and that level of innovation, and also the parenting side of things and how we roll with that. So once again, thank you for tuning in. We've enjoyed having you with us, and we look forward to chatting soon. Blaze your own trail. Start your inner work now. This has been a Clean Your Toilet podcast.